In the 1960s in New York, minimalism was all the rage. Artists like Donald Judd, Sol LeWitt, Frank Stella were playing with straight-edge abstraction, modular forms, industrial materials, and all sorts of other signifiers of a kind of cold, hard modernism. For artists like the minimalists, the idea was that what you see is what you see, that it is what it is, right? Cinder block is a cinder block, and if you pile a bunch of cinder blocks together or put them on end in a row, it didn't mean anything beyond the act of repetition and the act of modularity. Eva Hesse was an artist who was living alongside, working alongside many of these minimalist artists, and she was learning their lessons. But she was pushing those ideas into a radically different direction. This piece in the National Gallery's collection, Test Piece for Contingent, is part of a larger piece that Eva Hesse was planning called Contingent that she made in 1969. She was trying to figure out how the materials she was using, which were pretty new materials to be using in artworks, were going to work, how they were going to react, how they were going to be shaped and molded. She took an open weave cheesecloth and she covered it, in this case, with latex, with rubber. And she draped it over a dowel hanging from the ceiling so that the rubber would kind of stiffen the cheesecloth, but also be affected by gravity. And so that it would sort of be irregularly shaped and clumpy in places and thin and see-through in places, so that gravity would do its work. But because she was using gravity and because she was using latex rubber, which has a certain color, a certain irregularity in the way that it drips and shapes around the fabric, the effect is entirely different. It's as if we're looking at flesh or a fragile body, layers of skin. When Eva Hesse was experimenting with all of these industrial materials she was interested in, including rubber, but also including fiberglass, she knew that none of these materials were permanent. They weren't like bronze or stone or oil paint or a lot of other materials that artists have used over the millennia to make sure that their art endures. In fact, Hesse was okay with the idea that these sculptures would decay and crumble over time because she was interested in the way that the artwork could replicate our human experience. For me, Contingent is so important as a reminder that not everything that we do has to last forever, that we can take chances, that we can make experiments, that we can try things out, knowing that they will last for a certain amount of time and then go away. And I think that gives us a real sense of freedom, that not everything has to be perfect, that we have a chance to affect each other, to inspire each other, to offer beauty to each other in the now, and that's good enough.